the jazz band now too, which I've always wanted to be in a band with horns in it and with that kind of swingy sound. And I've been trying to write stuff for that band too. And that's fun. It's like a whole different ball game, a whole different feel. So I'm really psyched about it as well. Cory Chambers Jazz Band.
Do you have a song that would represent that?
Yeah.
That sound?
I do. Glad you asked. I worked in the office for a short time, a temporary job in Atlanta. It was not my favorite. It lasted about 6 weeks, and that was about all I could handle. But I wrote this song just about the kind of a desperate feeling of looking for any way to kind of get a smile on during the work day in the office. And came up with this song. It's a love song. It's called The Best Part of the Day. Makes me numb between the finger and the thumb, where my shoulder muscle lay. Just a pinch of time, but in my mind, the best part of the day. And I'd like to copy in the copy room when I got high like a balloon, 'cause you hugged me then went walking on your way. World don't have paper and ink to make enough for what I think is the best part of the day. Trying but choking, taking up smoking, occupying my mind, 'cause I wanna waste time. Drop a rain, screamed out my name, soak everything up that you can, in a second split and layered like a short story. The critics will say was the best part of the day. All right.
Yeah, that's very different.
Yeah.
Very different sound.
Jazzy side of things. Yeah. We have Miss Amy Drew on clarinet, an old Savannah musician, has been in Savannah his whole life, Stanley Walls on trumpet. It's just so much fun with the horn section. They sound really good.
Yeah, and the clarinet, it really will give that jazzy sound.
Yeah, it's nice. I think it'd make a great bar band, so we're hoping to book a lot of that for the spring. But I remember when I would visit Savannah with my parents in high school, for whatever reason, I expected to hear jazz. I think maybe a lot of people sort of expect to hear that. Maybe it's just a Rivertown vibe. But I feel like it really suits Savannah, this sound. It's just blues dressed up a little bit. And it just sounds so good to me. I'm so excited about it. It's also an opportunity to write songs with different type of feel and using these jazzy chords I've been slowly picking up on, the past 10 years.
Now you'll be doing guitar?
Correct. I play guitar in this band. Jay Rudd plays upright bass. Then Stanley Walls and Amy Drew quartet as of right now.
Yeah. You play several instruments, and Jay plays several instruments. So one always has to ask what you're playing in a particular
Right.
ensemble.
Yeah, Jay especially, man, he can do it all. Jay started playing bass and getting more into it, and he kind of was the catalyst behind this project. And he's a huge Western swing fan and of jazz in general. And we'd always talked about being in a band that sounded sort of like what we're doing.
So will he be writing some of the tunes for that new band too?
He has. He's already written an instrumental. He's just a phenomenal musician. He's got about the best ear that I can remember of anybody that I've played with. So it's been a real blessing having him around all the time, you know. He makes me a better musician for sure.
It's interesting that the new band is jazz-oriented because you see a lot of that jam session, sort of sitting down and just playing, both in jazz as well as in bluegrass.
Yeah, that's what we do in our free time, and we like to be rehearsed and tight, but we also want that element of joy and improvisation in the moment. That's when we have the most fun, and that's when people seem to respond the most favorably. So we're always trying to create that vibe.
Yeah, that spontaneity really is attractive when you're listening to a group, because you really don't see how much the players like each other until you see that sort of spontaneous playing.
Yeah. And a lot of times we, don't realize we like each other until until we're up there doing that. So it's even more important to have those moments where it's just sort of blissful to be up there playing. And fortunately, they seem to happen regularly. I'm lucky to play with not just great musicians, but great people as well. We have a lot of fun.
You see that in City Hotel performances. You see that enjoyment and the joking between players.
Yeah, we're all brothers at this point. And anyone that's been in a band, I think, will tell you that's one of the best things about it for sure, is the friendships. And I love going on tour and the road trips. Those are the most fun for me. We have a lot of fun, and hopefully that does translate.
What type of interaction do you like to have with the audience?
Well, bluegrass is always very close to the audience and not much separation between the audience and the performer, and so we like that as well. A lot of our friends are people that we sort of met through the local music scene, people that love to support local bands. They end up being some of our closest friends. So yeah, we love to be close as possible, and we're always trying to hang out after we play and meet new people and tell people about all the fun stuff that we're doing. That's another reason to love bluegrass, is there's just not much separation between the superstars and the concert goers. I really like that about it.
Does the group, or do you as individuals go to any of the bluegrass festivals?
Jay goes to Spring Fest a good bit, which is Sewanee Music Park, I think, in Live Oak, Florida. That's their bluegrass festival. He goes to a lot of old time festivals too. I get to them when I can. They're a lot of fun. Mostly when we get to hear the superstars, we get to hear them at the Savannah Music Festival, which we're super lucky to have that in town. So we'll get to see Mike Marshall then, and Jerry Douglas, people like that come through. So we get to see them then, and unfortunately you don't get to see too many people like that other times throughout the year. But yeah, we definitely try to take advantage of it when they are coming through town. Also
with the Savannah Music Festival, it's wonderful to see their acoustic music seminar series.
Absolutely.
With the young players.
They're just breathtaking. It's one of my favorite shows to go to every year. And technically, they're just incredible musicians on those bluegrass instruments. But it seems like they have the spiritual side of things down too, always in that show. And they're always having so much fun on stage and supporting one another. I remember when I was in high school, I was a tennis player and ultra competitive, and not what I would consider to be a team player. but these kids have really, they seem to be so much better than that, and it's refreshing and wonderful to see every year. Yeah.
Well, it seems there's a lot of support here in town. Bands support one another.
Yeah, it's been wonderful. As soon as we started playing the Trainwrecks, Jason Bible, and also the Accomplices, Matt and Stan and Zach and Colleen, they've been so helpful to us, and they certainly could have been competitive and saw a band trying to do a similar genre and not paid us any attention, then it would have been fine, but they welcomed us with open arms and got us gigs all the time and offered advice, and we're definitely a band still because of them. I would say they helping us there at the beginning, so it's been a blessing being here in Savannah. And aside from those two bands, just the bar scene in general, and the community seems to support arts a lot, and I just really feel lucky to be here. In Atlanta, where I used to live, there's many bluegrass musicians and musicians of every kind, so it's a supportive scene too up there, but also there's just so many people that there's not enough paying gigs to go around, and Savannah seems to be nice. There seems to be a lot of support and a lot of helping each other out happening, and it's a good thing for me anyway.
Do you do open mics?
When I first moved here, for sure, I did them all the time, and that's how I met Aaron, the other primary songwriter in City Hotel. I went to Eric Culberson's Tuesday night jam at Bayou Cafe. Good Lord, that was so much fun. We brought some electric instruments, which is what we're not used to doing, so it was a blast. But I don't get to do it as much as I'd like to. Those are good practice for sure.
Yeah. Pete did solo shows too. You can try a song out, and then you can embroider your conversation with the audience in different ways.
Yeah, the solo shows are good for that. There's lots less arguing over song choice as compared to bands with a solo show, and yeah, definitely new stuff. You can just bust it out. So I appreciate that about solo shows. And I've been doing more and more of that. I'm really happy about. It is different though, a totally different vibe for sure. I like it.
So, can we have another song?
Sure. This is a tune called the Rex Mill Bridge. So I wrote this song about being in high school. I remember in high school the hip-hop and alternative music was popular for the longest time, but then when I was in like the 11th grade and 12th grade, punk rock became really popular, and and specifically the emotional punk rock was the most popular music of the time. And I thought it was so funny that there was a genre of music called emotional. So I sort of wrote this song in the emotional style. But this is about being in high school and sort of dating someone for the first time. Extremely emotional stuff. I'm just going to play it. This is the Rex Mill Bridge. It was through the window, and a space between the blinds fit for my eye. I'm waiting for you, just like a dog looking to see your car turn right. did not say you were on your way, but I felt you when you crossed that Rex Mill Bridge. It's 'cause I could hear your waves, I could smell your skin, and it scared me so bad, so I could not hardly manage. At the movie in the summer night, the sun finally down. I'm thinking about you while the organ player fills the Fox with sound. And I did not know that you'd be there. Still I stepped straight to you, standing in the aisle. It's 'cause I could hear your waves, I could smell your skin. It scared me so bad, so I could not hardly smile. At the grocery, my dirty glasses cannot hide my bloodshot eye. I'm high as can be, I run into you and get swelled up with surprise. It's 'cause her name don't cross my memory as I'm traveling, swallowing Dramamine every day. It just shows some girl outside her parents' house, dancing to some modest mouse in the rain.
Now that's about new love.
Sure.
First relationships?
Yeah, first love, it not working out, but it's kind of sticking with you for whatever reason. I remember this girl I dated, we liked Modest Mouse a lot, and particularly the song Dramamine. And I stole a line from Dramamine there at the end for Rexmill Bridge, traveling, swallowing Dramamine. It's it not working out, but it's kind of sticking with you for whatever reason. I remember this girl I dated, we liked Modest Mouse a lot, and particularly the song Dramamine. And I stole a line from Dramamine there at the end for Rexmill Bridge, traveling, swallowing Dramamine. It's a depressing song by Modest Mouse. So yeah, I kind of played with that line, and I remember bumping into this girl a few times around Atlanta, and I don't know, feeling like maybe I could tell she was near sometimes until I couldn't anymore. So that's kind of what the song is about, just letting go of memories and time going by.
Yeah, you mentioned the Fox Theater.
Yeah, they're good about showing movies in the summer times. You can go have a night out at the Fox Theater for like $6.50 and see a movie. It's a lot of fun. So yeah, I allude to that.
Do they have then have an organ player who plays?
Yeah,
before the movies, or?
Right. They have an old school organ player there, and a lot of times they'll do like cartoons before the movie, like they did back in the day. But yeah, it's such a fun time, and it's very romantic, so it kind of lent itself to this love song, and I like trying to take detailed images like that and put them in the song. I like that, yeah.
Well, and dirty glasses
Sure.
can't hide the bloodshot eyes. It's a very vivid image.
Absolutely, and yeah. I think that alludes to like a numbing agent, maybe, not unlike Dramamine, so it made sense to put those two together. So I play that one a lot when I'm by myself, and the jazz band now, we play that with them, and it comes off really nice with the trumpet.
I see that really with the more acoustic sound, the more City Hotel type sound.
Sure.
But that would be interesting to hear it with brass and woodwind.
It works. It's fun. I like the jazz band. It seems like with City Hotel, we have to keep the tempos up a lot of times in the bar gigs, but with the horn section and the jazz band, I think we're going to be able to get away with doing stuff that's a little more groovy and mellow. It's because there's a lot of dynamic there with the clarinet and the trumpet. It adds a lot.
Yeah, because you did Rex Mill Bridge as part of the singer-songwriter series.
Yes, I love playing it by myself. And it just seems to kind of have a fullness about it that I can pull off with just the guitar. I like doing it for that reason. I think it's a good song.
But it'll be interesting to hear the jazz band try to do that too.
Right. It'll be interesting. We've had a few gigs so far, and just pretty much everything we do, I just love it. Stanley Walls is a great musician. He's been playing keyboards and trumpet in various Southern rock outfits. So he's very excited to be doing something a little bit different, even though I know he loves playing with those bands. So yeah, he's a super tasteful musician, so it seems like almost anything you throw at him, he turns into gold. I'm excited to be able to have different outlets, because you bring a song like that to City Hotel and it just won't work for whatever reason. There's just occasionally that it's not the right fit, and it's nice to have another outlet where a lot of these original songs, I can do them.
Yeah, sounds great. Do you have any other things you'd like to play?
Well, I suppose I'll play one of the first songs I wrote. This was on the City Hotel Green album, our first little demo. I was an English major, and one of my favorite classes, we learned about this Frenchman. His last name was Derrida. He's sort of a language theorist guy, and I feel like that's where a lot of my songs came from, this idea that words can only reflect to another word, pretty much. You ask somebody what a word means, and they're going to need other words to explain that to you. And also, it seems I can't have a single thought without a word. So, you start thinking about that stuff, it gets a little freaky. Your consciousness can seem a little wispy, I suppose, when you think about it as a series of reflections, as a series of, hey, what does this word mean? It means this word and this word. Well, what do those words mean? And so on and so on. I kind of tried to talk about all that stuff in a song. We'll see how I did. This is called It's Raining Words. I write words that won't stay where I say. They shift and they drift just as soon as my pen hits the page. You know I wrote what I said so that the things in my head would form a wall. But my bricks never stick. They just trick me, then together they fall. They fall Oh, what a funny little thing to hear me open my mouth and say nothing every time that I sing. Look up, hanging from the skies, it's my words deconstructing and they're floating in front of your eyes. Apostrophes and onomatopoeias fall talking like people, and then they bam into me and you. I mean, really, what can we say? If it's raining words, we should all go out and play. It's a scary place to be living, where words fall apart like leaves let go in the wind. You know, wrestling with words will surely leave you stressed. Searching for meaning will leave you still fiending unless you say, oh, what a funny little thing to hear me open my mouth and say nothing every time that I sing. Look up, hanging from the skies is my words deconstructing and they're floating in front of your eyes. Apostrophes and onomatopoeias fall talking like people, and then they bam into me and you. I mean, really, what can we say? If it's raining words, we should all go out and play.
That's really nice. It gets sort of to the heart of communication, because how people understand how you're using the words and appreciate that is very difficult sometimes.
Absolutely, and there's all sorts of opportunity for misunderstandings. So you gotta be careful. I think this song, probably inspired by songwriting, that process itself, it's sort of a complaint of wanting to get an idea down, but you write it down on paper and you read it back and it means something else than what you wanted it to. That kind of happens more often than not. And so yeah, language is certainly tricky. I tried to write a song, shed some light on that. And in the song anyway, the character in the song decides to be playful with language and try not to be obsessed with meanings. So I think it's good advice.
Yeah. Well, meanings can come out of the words. But as you said before, what you are trying to say may not be the way someone else interprets it.
Absolutely.
And then you even threw onomatopoeia in there, so that well, sometimes the meaning of the word comes from its sound, not necessarily from its meaning. Or the meaning comes from the sound, not from the word itself.
Yeah, and being anyone that does poetry or songwriting knows that people can respond to it in any kind of way, and you never really know what's going to trigger a memory for a random person, or you never know what's going to mean something to someone that you did not intend it. But it's kind of fun like that. I enjoy that about songwriting.
So sometimes to you it feels like you're raining words on someone?
I think the raining words just kind of tried to create this image of us living in a language world. They're very, the raindrops we get. We understand raindrops by the word rain as much as the wet things that fall from the sky. And I think that's what I was trying to get at, maybe a little bit.
Do you try to stay away from idioms, or do you relish in those when you're writing a lyric?
Well, cliches are something I try to avoid, but they'll sneak in when you try to avoid them. And oftentimes idioms will be cliches or things that pop up time and time again. And so I actually try to steer clear of that. I want to be as unique and as memorable as possible.
Well, it's been wonderful to have you talk to us, and it's always wonderful to see you out performing, either as a solo artist or as part of City Hotel or Cory Chambers Jazz Band or whatever other band you're in.
Well, thank you so much for having me. This has been fun. Appreciate it.
This has been another edition of Music Local and Sustainable, and I've been your host, Dave Lake.
Well, I know we ain't headed for the Hall of Fame. Gonna give it what we got, man, that ain't no shame. Let me know if you can hear me. Check, check, 1, 2. Let me know if you can hear me. Check, check, 1,